Zola Blu never imagined her grandmother's ancient hair recipes would lead to betrayal, heartbreak, and healing. In this cinematic African folktale meets modern-day success story, follow the journey of a woman who transforms her pain into purpose and builds a global empire from her roots. The title of this story is Crowned Roots: The Rise of Zola Blu. Zola Blu hadn't planned to end up barefoot in her tiny kitchen, mixing coconut oil with raw shea butter, tears sliding down her cheeks. Just 2 weeks ago, she was corporate, buttoned up, commuting, sipping lukewarm coffee in meetings where no one said her name right. But layoffs were the storm that sent her tumbling back to herself. In a dusty box labeled Mars Things, she discovered a leather-bound journal filled with ancestral hair recipes written in Yoruba and English. The words smelled of camphor and resilience. That night, she couldn't sleep. Her fingers traced the ink like it was a map. And maybe it was a map to a higher purpose bigger than spreadsheets. Ayodele's recipes were powerful. Some required ingredients Zola hadn't heard of since her childhood. Others felt sacred. Her mind raced. "I can make something real from this," she whispered, staring at the glowing moon. This could change everything. Her ancestors, it seemed, had always been waiting. At the sweet urban market, she set up her stall. Cans and jars gleaming under the sun. Labels handwritten with trembling pride. People sniffed, nodded, bought. Then came Malik, with skin like polished mahogany and eyes that saw too much. "This is different," he said, holding her jar like it was an earth. "What's your story?" Zola blinked. "It's in the roots," she replied. And so it began. Zola's hands moved like memory, whipping oils, boiling herbs, singing low under her breath like Mayodele used to. The whispers of her grandmother haunted the corners of her apartment now. "Your crown is sacred," she would always say. Customers returned week after week. The name Crowned Roots spread like gospel on TikTok and Instagram. Zola made reels with before and after hair shots, always ending with a Yoruba proverb. She was becoming the story. Malik returned again and again. He never pushed, he just listened. He brought mango smoothies, gave marketing tips that actually helped. She Googled him once. A former creative director, fired over something sketchy. But he seemed different with her. Gentle, hungry for redemption. She let him help set up a photo shoot. He filmed her with reverence. "You're going to be big," he said. She smiled, but her dreams told another story, of a lioness chasing fire across the plains. In those dreams, the lioness always spoke in riddles. "Look beyond the smile, child. The serpent also glistens." Zola started waking up with chills, brushing sweat from her neck. Malik's kindness became a constant. He called her Z, like he owned the nickname. Her social media blew up. DMs from influencers flooded in. But her gut whispered warnings she didn't understand. And the lioness kept roaring. Malik brought 2 men to her pop-up event. Suits, sharp words, investment offers. Zola stood there in her Ankara print jumpsuit, scanning legal documents she didn't fully grasp. They wanted to franchise Crowned Roots. "First money," Malik said. "You deserve this." Her hands shook as she signed. The crowd clapped. Her dreams that night turned blood red. Ma Ayodele stood in the middle of the savannah, her voice deep like a drum. A lion does not ask a hyena for direction. Zola woke, gasping. The next morning, a delivery truck arrived. 200 jars, factory-filled, plastic-smelling, nothing like hers. Her recipes had been tweaked without her consent. She texted Malik. No answer. Then a DM from Naya, her childhood bestie. Girl, Malik's out there talking like he owns your brand. Zola's heart dropped. She met Malik at a rooftop bar, all glass and gold. Did you sell me? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Malik leaned back, smug, and said, I made you bank. You should thank me. She slapped the contract on the table. You stole my grandmother's magic. His smile faded. It's just business, Z. But to Zola, it was betrayal wrapped in a kiss. Zola shut down her site and fired off cease and desist emails. But the damage was done. Reviews flooded in. Complaints about watered-down products. Her reputation tittered. She cried in the shower, on the kitchen floor, in the back of the lifts. But every time she broke, the lioness showed up in her dreams. Build again, this time with teeth. She went back to the roots. Small batch, hand-labeled, 1 jar at a time. On TikTok, she posted a raw video. They tried to steal crown roots, but this crown isn't for sale. The internet rallied. Say less, sis, one user commented. Others tripled overnight. Malik's investors ghosted him, and Zola, scared but unbroken, walked into the fire and didn't flinch. One morning, her inbox pinged. A renowned TV host team wanted a sample box for her Visionary Women segment. Zola stood in her kitchen, barefoot again, but this time she was a warrior. Ma, she whispered, holding a jar to her chest. We did it. Naya came over with champagne and Nigerian jollof rice. I told you, no man can hijack your destiny. They danced around the apartment, barefoot queens under disco lights. Zola's smile returned, but so did the dreams, now with storm clouds and flickers of a man with no face. She started adding protective prayers to her recipes. Every blend came with a whisper of power. Crown Roots relaunched with a fiery new campaign. The crown cannot be stolen. Hashtags trended. Celebrities reposted. Women from Ghana to London to New York posted selfies holding jars. Zola wasn't selling hair butter. She was selling healing, pride and power. Others crashed her site for the second time in a month. Malik sent one last email. You win. You always did. She didn't reply. At her first wellness retreat in Kenya, Zola stood barefoot in red earth. Women circling her with songs of freedom. The lioness appeared once more, this time not worrying but resting beside her. You have remembered who you are. Zola nodded. Now, she said, I help others do the same. The retreat in Kenya marked the birth of something deeper in Zola. Under the baobab trees, surrounded by women reclaiming their power, she felt a shift. She began teaching not just hair rituals, but spiritual rituals, building affirmations into her oils, hosting crown ceremonies at sunrise. The word spread fast. A documentary team from the UK reached out. "We want to tell the story of crowned roots," they said. Zola hesitated, then agreed that the world needed this. Back in Atlanta, her inbox overflowed. Customers sent photos, testimonials, and even poems. "Your oil helped me love my texture again," one wrote. But with visibility came vultures. A former intern launched a knockoff line, mimicking Zola's formulas and packaging. Zola felt anger rise, but the lioness appeared in her dream, unbothered. "Let the corpse play. You are the pride," said the lioness. Instead of lawsuits, Zola leaned into innovation. She created the Ancestral box, a seasonal kit filled with traditional ingredients, a folklore story, and a ritual guide. It sold out in hours. As she packed boxes late into the night, she felt Mayodele's presence, humming a lullaby from her childhood. Zola whispered, "We're just getting started." A new face appeared at Zola's next pop-up. His name was Jabari, a cultural historian, with locks down his back and a calm energy that felt like shade on a hot day. He praised her work and spoke of a project archiving black hair rituals across the diaspora. Their conversation lasted hours. "You are documenting what our grandmothers lived," he said. Zola blushed. For the first time in months, someone saw her, not just her brand. Naya noticed. "Girl, that man got great energy," she teased. Zola laughed it off, but her mind replayed every word Jabari had said. He followed up with a proposal to collaborate on a traveling exhibit called Crowned and Rooted. Zola agreed. They began working late into the night, blending storytelling with history. With every meeting, their energy danced. But trust came harder now. Malik's betrayal lingered like a smoke. Zola moved cautiously, double-checking everything. Jabari never pushed. He respected her space. One night, as they reviewed footage from an elder in Jamaica, Zola's hand brushed his. The spark was undeniable. She pulled away and said, "I don't mix business with." Her voice trailed. Jabari nodded. "Then we build first," he said. The Crowned and Rooted tour launched in New York, then London, Lagos, and Cape Town. Each stop was magic. Grandmothers weeping, children touching textured wigs, men learning to braid hair. Zola stood on stages, no longer nervous, her voice full of fire and softness. Jabari stood beside her, always. The world saw them as a power duo. Blogs dubbed them as the healers of heritage. One night in London, after a standing ovation, Jabari took her hand. "We are good together, Z." She looked into his eyes and saw safety, not seduction. That night, she let herself lean into the warmth. It wasn't fast or furious. It was intentional. They moved like old souls finding each other again. But in Lagos, a whisper started. A tabloid blog claiming Jabari was using Zola to land a Netflix deal. Zola laughed at first, but then she saw a message on his phone. "She's perfect for the pitch. Play it right." Her heart cracked. She didn't confront him, not yet. Instead, she called on the lioness in her dreams. "Protect me from charm that hides a chain." Back in Atlanta, Zola's energy shifted. She threw herself into product development, launching a kids line called Lil Roots, inspired by her niece. The packaging featured African folklore characters and affirmations like, "My coils are my crown." The sales bloomed, but her silence towards Jabari grew louder. Jabari noticed. "You've been distant," he said to Zola. Zola shrugged and answered, "Just busy." But her eyes said more. He reached for her hand. "Z, talk to me." She hesitated, then showed him the message. Jabari froze. "It's not what it looks like." That was from months ago, before we even... Zola pulled her hand back. "Before you loved me?" He had no answer. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just walked away. That night, she slept without dreams. The lioness didn't come, only silence. In the morning, she looked in the mirror and repeated, "My crown is not a prop. My love is not a pitch." And with that, she chose herself again. Zola hosted her first Rooted Women's Summit, bringing together Black women from tech, beauty, activism, and spirituality. Panels were held under banyan trees. Elders poured libations. Women danced barefoot on the grass. Zola opened the summit with a story. "My grandmother Ayodele taught me that healing starts at the scalp, but it grows from the soul." Applause thundered from the crowd. Malik showed up uninvited. Bowed now and humbled, he asked to speak. "I didn't know how to love a visionary," he said. Zola nodded politely, then turned away. She had no more energy for shadows. That night, she stood barefoot under the moon, surrounded by women humming old songs. Peace settled on her like silk. The next morning, she launched a mentorship platform for Black teen girls, teaching not just haircare but confidence, storytelling, and business skills. She named it Ayodele Academy. Her inbox filled with support. She whispered to the wind, "Ma Ayodele, look what you started." And the wind whispered back, "It is only the beginning." Zola sat by the window of her studio, sunlight dancing across her journal. She was learning to love the stillness. With Ayodele Academy on the way and crowned roots more stable than ever, she finally had space to breathe. Yet, beneath the quiet, she felt the pull of the unknown. Her dreams had returned. Only now the lioness walked beside her in silence. Something new was coming. She got the call just after dusk. A government agency wanted to feature crowned roots in a global campaign on sustainable Black-owned businesses. They would fly her to South Africa for a cultural exchange. Zola nearly dropped the phone. This was her grandma's doing. "We said it was only the beginning," the wind seemed to whisper. As she packed, she reflected on how far she had come. Malik, Jabari, the betrayals, the rebuild, all of it had shaped her. "You are not your pain," she told herself in the mirror. "You are your purpose." Her lioness flicked her tail in approval. South Africa awaited. Cape Town was breathtaking. Mountains melting into sea and markets filled with stories. Zola visited local healers, learning about indigenous herbs and rituals. She felt at home. The air vibrated with energy, like this land remembered her spirit. At the exchange event, she met Tandy, a fierce South African local with tattoos of ancestral symbols across her arms. "We've been waiting for you, sister," Tandy said with a knowing smile. The shared recipes, rituals, affirmations, and laughter. Zola felt her power deepen. That night, she walked along the coast barefoot, whispering her gratitude. The lioness appeared again, then shifted, morphing into Ma Ayodele. "Your next crown is not for your head, Zola," she said. "It's for your lineage." Zola cried in the sand, the waves washing away her fears. Returning to Atlanta was surreal. Zola brought with her a new collection of African botanicals and a vision. A crowned roots apothecary, a healing house rooted in ancestral knowledge. She brought a small building in the West End, a former bookstore, and began renovations. Naya, her bestie, joined the full-time, overseeing branding and community outreach. Ayodele Academy expanded, enrolling girls from different cities. Zola watched her tribe grow. The building smelled of sage, laughter, and possibility. One evening, as she painted a mural of the lioness on the back wall, Jabari showed up. "I heard what you're building," he said. "I came to say I am proud of you." Zola nodded, her heart steady. "Thank you." They stood in silence, no rekindling, just closure, a healed chapter. The apothecary's grand opening drew hundreds. Women came with their daughters, aunties, and even skeptical uncles. Zola led a blessing ceremony, anointing the doorway with oils made from South Africa and Mississippi herbs. The air sang. A journalist from Essence featured the story. Others flooded in. Zola introduced a line called Legacy Oils, each blend named after a matriarch in her home. Mayodele's blend sold out in hours. Zola felt her ancestors smiling. That night, she hosted a storytelling circle. Women shared their hair journeys, their healing, their heartbreaks. One woman said, "I didn't just find products here, I found myself." Zola closed her eyes. "Mission, magic, and memory," she whispered. That was her business model now. The success brought peace, but also pressure. Investors circled again, this time promising big money to scale globally. Zola hesitated. "Scale without soul is just selling," she told Naya. But the temptation was real, and she needed to think. She turned to her roots again, this time through fasting, praying, and dream journaling. In one vision, she stood at a crossroad with two paths, one paved in gold, the other in soil. She chose the soil. When she awoke, her decision was clear. She declined the offers and instead launched a crowned collective, a cooperative of Black women artisans creating healing products. Profit sharing, storytelling, and sisterhood were at its core. Zola had chosen legacy over luxury, and her people chose her right back. The collective grew faster than expected. From a few women in Atlanta, it spread to Accra, New York, Kingston, London, and Brixton. Zola traveled, mentored, and curated. Every member brought ancestral magic into their creations. It was more than business. It was rebirth. But every light attracts moth. A popular YouTuber accused Zola of exploiting African spirituality for profit. The post went viral. Zola's DM filled with hate and heartbreak. She felt betrayed by a community she had poured herself into. Instead of reacting, she responded. She hosted a live stream titled, not for sale, where she addressed the controversy with grace and honesty. The lioness returned in her dreams, not roaring but watching Zola. Zola understood. Her integrity was her roar now. Months passed. The storm calmed. The YouTuber apologized publicly. Zola forgave but never forgot. She focused on the work, on the women, on the whispers of spirit that guided her. Trust, once broken, became her boundary. At the collective retreat in Ghana, Zola met Ayo, a quiet sculptor who created altars from discarded wood for Christian organizations and non-Christian organizations. His energy was gentle and grounding. They talked about grief and growth under the baobab tree. Ayo didn't flirt, he listened. Back home, they kept talking. Zoom calls turned to visits, visits to shared silence. Zola wasn't rushing. She had learned, but she also knew something rare when it rooted. This time, her lioness poured. Crowned Roots celebrated its 5th year anniversary with a gala called The Gathering. Women from all over flew in, wearing crowns of kente, ashoike, lace and locks. Zola took the stage, trembling with emotions. "We are our ancestors' wildest prayers," she said. The room erupted. Ayo surprised her with a sculpture of Ma Ayodele carved from driftwood, her eyes made of obsidian. Zola wept. "You honored her," she whispered. He took her hand and said, "She walks with you." That night, they danced under fairy lights, barefoot on grass. There were no speeches, no promises, just presence. Zola knew love rooted in peace was the kind she would protect, and this love felt like home. A year later, Zola stood at the United Nations, delivering a speech on cultural entrepreneurship and healing through heritage. Her voice didn't shake. She spoke for every girl who'd been told her texture was too much, for every woman who hid her magic. She ended with a Yoruba blessing. The room stood and applauded. She walked off the stage and called Nair first. "We did it," she said. "We're not just in markets now. We are in the motherboards of power." When she got home, there were flowers from Ayo. No card, just a ribbon made of palm leaves. Zola smiled. "Yes," she said to herself, "we're planting forests now." Zola visited Ma Ayodele's grave, the final stop of a long, beautiful journey. She lit a candle and laid down the first bottle of legacy oil ever made. "Your crown made mine possible," she whispered. The wind carried her words. She wasn't famous, not really. She was something deeper, something remembered. In the lives she touched, the girls she mentored, the stories she told, Crowned Roots was now a movement, a living tribute to heritage, healing, and wholeness. As she walked away, the lioness appeared one last time, then faded into golden dust. Zola smiled. She no longer needed dreams to remember who she was. Her life was the dream now, and she was wide awake. Zola's journey led her to the heart of Amazon rainforest, where she sought to understand the indigenous practices of haircare and healing. Immersed in vibrant culture, she discovered plants and rituals unknown to her before. The experience was transformative, deepening her connection to the earth and its offerings. Upon returning, she integrated these newfound insights into Crowned Roots, launching the Amazon Essence line. The products, rich in exotic botanicals, resonated with her audience, symbolizing a bridge between cultures. The launch event was a celebration of unity and diversity, with attendees sharing stories of their own roots. The success of Amazon Essence was not just in sales, but in the conversations it sparked about sustainability and respect for indigenous knowledge. Zola ensured that a portion of the profits supported rainforest conservation, aligning with her commitment to ethical practices. Her community rallied behind the cause, amplifying its reach. As Crown Roots flourished, Zola faced challenges in balancing expansion with authenticity. The pressure to meet increasing demand threatened the artisanal quality that qualified her brand. She grappled with decisions about scaling production without compromising her values. In a moment of introspection, Zola revisited Ma Ayodele's journal, seeking guidance from her ancestors' words. She found solace in the reminder that growth should never outpace one's integrity. This realization led her to partner with local artisans, ensuring that each product remained a labor of love. The community's response was overwhelmingly positive. Customers appreciated the transparency and dedication to quality. Zola's decision reinforced the brand's identity, proving that staying true to one's roots fosters genuine connections. Zola's commitment to empowering others led her to launch the Crowned Creators Initiative, a mentorship program for aspiring beauty entrepreneurs. She opened the doors to her pottery to workshops and training sessions, sharing her knowledge and resources. The program attracted a diverse group of participants, each bringing unique perspectives and ideas. Together, they explored product development, branding, and the importance of storytelling. Zola emphasized that their personal narratives were powerful tools for connection. The inaugural cohort success stories were inspiring. Many launched their own lines, contributing to a vibrant ecosystem of Black-owned beauty brands. Zola's vision of a community uplifted through shared knowledge was coming to fruition. The digital landscape presented new opportunities for Crowned Roots. Zola embraced technology by introducing virtual consultations, allowing customers worldwide to receive personalized haircare advice. This innovation made her expertise accessible beyond geographical boundaries. The virtual platform also hosted live events where Zola engaged with her audience in real time. These sessions fostered a sense of community, with participants sharing their experiences and tips. The digital space became an extension of their apothecary, nurturing connections and trust. Embracing technology did not dilute the brand's authenticity. Instead, it showcased Zola's adaptability and commitment to meeting her community needs. The fusion of tradition and innovation strengthened Crowned Roots' presence in the modern world. Zola's storytelling prowess caught the attention of a publishing house, leading to a book deal. She authored Crowned, Embracing Heritage Through Hair, a book intertwining her personal journey with cultural insights. The book delved into the significance of hair in the Black community and its ties to identity. The release garnered critical acclaim, resonating with readers globally. Book tours and speaking engagements followed, where Zola connected with audiences on a deeper level. Her narrative sparked dialogues about self-acceptance and the celebration of heritage. The book's impact extended beyond the literary world. It inspired readers to embark on their own journeys of self-discovery, embracing their roots with pride. Zola's words became a catalyst for empowerment and unity. Crowned Roots' influence reached the fashion industry, leading to collaborations with designers for runway shows. Zola curated hair aesthetics that complemented cultural themes, showcasing the beauty of natural textures. These collaborations highlighted the elegance of black hair. The runway presentations were met with enthusiasm, challenging traditional beauty standards. Models adorned with crowned roots creations exuded confidence, inspiring audiences to embrace authenticity. The fusion of fashion and heritage created a powerful statement. Zola's involvement in fashion extended the brand's reach, attracting a broader audience. The collaborations demonstrated that beauty and culture are intertwined, and celebrating one's roots is always in vogue. Global recognition of crowned roots led to invitations from educational institutions. Zola became a guest lecturer at universities, sharing her expertise on entrepreneurship, cultural preservation, and ethical business practices. Her lectures inspired students to pursue their passions with integrity. In the academic sphere, Zola emphasized the importance of a community-centric business models. She advocated for enterprises that uplift and empower, challenging the notion that profit must come at the expense of values. Her insights resonated with a generation eager to make meaningful impacts. The educational engagement solidified Zola's role as a thought leader. She bridged the gap between academia and real-world application, demonstrating that success is multi-dimensional and deeply connected to one's principles. Zola's philanthropic efforts expanded with the establishment of the Roots Revival Fund, dedicated to supporting cultural preservation projects. The fund provided grants to initiatives focused on documenting and celebrating Black heritage, ensuring that traditions are passed to future generations. The projects funded ranged from oral history recordings to art installations, each contributing to a rich tapestry of cultural expression. Zola's vision of honoring the past while inspiring the future was realized through these endeavors. The Roots Revival Fund became a beacon for those passionate about heritage. It fostered collaborations among artists, historians, and communities, creating a network dedicated to preserving and celebrating Black culture. As Crowned Roots approached its 10th anniversary, Zola reflected on the journey with gratitude. She organized a Decade Crowned, a celebration honoring the community that had supported and grown with the brand. The event featured storytelling sessions, musical performances, and showcases of artisans' work. The highlight was a tribute to Ma Ayodele, acknowledging her enduring influence. Attendees shared how Crowned Roots had impacted their lives, from boosting confidence to inspiring entrepreneurial pursuits. The stories were a testament to the brand's profound effect. The anniversary celebration was not just a look back, but a vision forward. Zola announced initiatives aimed at furthering education and empowerment, ensuring that Crowned Roots' legacy would continue to flourish. Standing before her community, Zola closed the ceremony with the final blessings. May your roots always remind you of your royalty, and your crown never shrink for anyone's comfort. The crowd erupted in song and joy, and she turned legacy into movement, pain into power. In her quiet moments, Zola no longer dreamt of the lioness. She had become her, fierce, protective, and noble. Every product, every story, every girl who whispered, "I am enough," was a living testament to what Zola had built. Crowned Roots was not just a brand, it was an awakening and a movement. As the sun set on the anniversary night, Zola sat beneath the baobab tree with Ayo and Naya, laughing and dreaming about the future. Her journey had been forged in fire, but it had now bloomed in freedom. Her crown was never just on her head. It was in her hands, her heart, and her heritage. Thank you all so much for joining me on this journey through Crowned Roots, the rise of Zola Blu. I hope you enjoyed the tale and its rich lessons. Until next time, may the stories continue to weave their magic in your hearts. Thank you.